The moment I opened that bank statement, my stomach dropped. The numbers didn't make sense. Hundreds of dollars gone. Withdrawals I never made. At first, I thought it was fraud, some stranger hacking my account. But when I dug deeper, my heart sank. The transfers weren't random. They were linked to a familiar name. My sister's. The person I trusted most in this world, my own flesh and blood, had been quietly draining me behind my back. And if the money wasn't enough, the lies she told to cover it up cut even deeper. But trust me, she didn't get away with it. Growing up, it was always me and Clara against the world. We were only 2 years apart, and people used to say we looked like twins. She was the mischievous one, always sneaking cookies before dinner, always talking her way out of trouble. I was the responsible one, the one who covered for her, who cleaned up the mess when she pushed too far. But no matter what, we had each other. When our parents fought, we'd curl up in the same bed, whispering promises in the dark. It's you and me forever, no matter what. She was my first best friend, my secret keeper, my partner in every childhood adventure. So as adults, I never questioned where my loyalty lay. Clara struggled more than I did when we grew up. She bounced from job to job, never quite finding her footing. I landed steady work, built a savings, started planning for my future, and whenever she fell, I was there. When she couldn't make rent, I covered it. When her car broke down, I paid for the repairs. When she needed groceries, I filled her fridge. She'd hug me tight, eyes shining, and whisper, "May, I don't know what I'd do without you." And I believed her, because that's what sisters are for. Looking back, the signs were there. She always seemed to need just a little more. A few dollars turned into 100, 100 turned into 1,000, but she always promised to pay me back, always swore she just needed time. And I wanted to believe her. I chose to believe her, because admitting the truth that my sister might be using me felt impossible. It wasn't just the money. Clara started spinning stories. She claimed she was working late, but her social media showed nights out with friends. She said she was saving for an apartment, but new clothes and jewelry kept appearing. When I asked about it, she'd laugh nervously. "Oh, this? It was on sale. Don't worry, I'm being careful." But the unease in my gut grew stronger each time. Even then, I defended her. When friends warned me she was taking advantage, I snapped back. "She's my sister. She'd never do that to me." When my parents raised their eyebrows at yet another loan, I said, "She'll pay me back. She just needs support right now." I wore my loyalty like armor, refusing to see the cracks forming underneath. Because to me, Clara wasn't just family, she was part of me, and losing her would mean losing myself. But as the withdrawals piled up, as the excuses grew thinner, as the lies tangled around us both, a terrible thought began creeping into my mind. What if my sister wasn't just struggling? What if she was betraying me for money and for lies? As the months passed, the weight of Clara's dependence pressed heavier on me. She called almost every week with a new crisis. "May, I promise, it's the last time, just until payday." But payday came and went, and still she asked for more. Each time she wrapped her request in sweetness. "You're my rock, May. You're the only one I can count on." And I'd give in, even as frustration gnawed at my chest. Because how do you say no to your own sister? At first, her lies were small. She told me she was saving, but I saw her carrying shopping bags. She told me she was cutting back, but posted pictures at expensive restaurants. When I asked, she'd smile sheepishly. "It was a friend's treat. You know me, I'd never spend money I don't have." And I wanted to believe her, but a voice in my head whispered louder with each excuse. "She's not telling you the truth." One evening, when she asked for another loan, I hesitated. "Clara, this is the 3rd time this month. Where is all this money going?" Her eyes flashed, defensive. "Why are you interrogating me? Don't you trust me?" The words hit like a knife. "Don't you trust me?" She knew trust was the one thing I'd never withhold. So I sighed, handed her the cash, and watched as she left without a thank you. For the first time, I felt less like a sister and more like a bank. That night, I lay awake replaying her words, her defensiveness, her quick anger, her refusal to explain. And for the first time, I admitted a truth I'd been avoiding. Clara wasn't just struggling, she was hiding something. A week later, we met for lunch. She showed up late, hair perfect, nails freshly done. I raised an eyebrow. "Nice manicure. Treating yourself?" She froze, then laughed too quickly. "Oh, a friend paid for it. Birthday gift." but I knew her birthday was months away. I smiled, pretending to believe her, but inside my doubts solidified. The breaking point came when I logged into my online banking. At first, I only meant to check my balance, but as I scrolled through the statements, something strange caught my eye. Transfers, repeated ones, small enough not to alarm me at first, but frequent, and each one labeled with the same recipient name, Clara's. My chest tightened. I had never authorized those transfers. Never. It wasn't just asking anymore. It wasn't just lies. She was stealing. I sat frozen, staring at the screen. This wasn't the sister who once Pinky promised to protect me forever. This wasn't the girl I had defended, supported, and sacrificed for. This was someone else entirely. Someone who had been lying to my face, all while dipping into my life behind my back. And in that moment, the love and loyalty I had clung to began to fracture. Because betrayal from a friend is painful, but betrayal from your own sister? It shatters you. I closed the laptop, my hands trembling. I could confront her immediately, explode, demand answers. But part of me hesitated, because I needed to know just how deep this betrayal went. And that meant the real investigation, and the real heartbreak, was only just beginning. After seeing those unauthorized transfers, I couldn't look at Clara the same way. Every word she spoke, every smile she flashed, every excuse she made, I questioned it all. But instead of confronting her right away, I chose silence, because if I wanted the full truth, I had to watch. The next time she called asking for money, I agreed without hesitation. Of course, Clara, whatever you need. Her relief was almost too quick, too eager. She didn't suspect a thing. But this time, I marked the date, the amount, and her story in my journal, and slowly a pattern began to emerge. She told me she needed cash to fix her car. But 2 days later, I saw her posting pictures at a rooftop bar, champagne glass in hand. She claimed her paycheck was delayed, but a mutual friend mentioned she had quit her job weeks earlier. Lie after lie, stacking on top of each other like a fragile tower ready to fall. One night, I ran into her friend Marcy at the grocery store. We chatted casually until Marcy laughed. Clara's been on such a spending spree lately. New clothes, new phone, girls living it up. My stomach twisted. Really? I asked lightly. She told me she's been saving every penny. Marcy's smile faltered. Oh, well, maybe she didn't mean to brag, but I knew the truth. Clara wasn't struggling. She was indulging with my money. The hardest part wasn't the money. It was the betrayal. Every time Clara hugged me, every time she said, "You're the best sister in the world," I felt sick, because I knew those words were just another mask. And the sister I loved was slipping further away with every lie she told. A week later, Clara called late at night. Her voice was rushed. "May, can you send me $200? My landlord's threatening to evict me." My chest tightened. "Of course, I'll transfer it right away." But after we hung up, I checked her account. The deposit I made didn't go to her landlord. It went straight into an online shopping site. That was the moment something in me snapped. She wasn't just leaning on me. She wasn't just lying to me. She was exploiting me, using my trust, my love, my loyalty, and twisting it into her personal wallet. I sat in silence that night, staring at my journal, the pages filled with notes, dates, and proof. I could confront her tomorrow, expose every lie, demand every dollar back. But a colder thought took hold. If Clara wanted to play me for a fool, then maybe it was time I played her back. Because sometimes the best way to deal with betrayal isn't anger. It's strategy. Once I decided to gather proof, I became sharper, more observant. I stopped brushing off Clara's stories and started dissecting them. Every word, every detail, I wrote it all down. And the more I listened, the more the cracks widened. One afternoon, Clara left her phone at my place. It buzzed with notifications while she was in the bathroom. I shouldn't have looked, but my instincts told me I had to. There it was, confirmation, bank alerts, shopping confirmations, even messages with friends bragging about my sister's endless generosity. My throat tightened. She wasn't even ashamed. She was proud. At a family dinner the following week, Clara arrived in a brand new designer jacket. Mom raised her eyebrows. "That looks expensive." Clara smiled sweetly. "Oh, it was a gift from a friend." But I knew better. I'd seen the charge on my account just days earlier. As she laughed and charmed everyone around the table, I forced myself to stay silent, because now wasn't the time to expose her. Not yet. Later that evening, my cousin pulled me aside. "May," she whispered, "be careful. Clara's been bragging about how much you help her. People are starting to say she's taking advantage. I forced a smile, but inside my stomach churned. So it wasn't just me who saw it. Others were noticing too. And Clara was digging her own grave with every careless word. The final straw came when my bank called. "Ms. Thompson, we noticed unusual transfers. Do you want to confirm these?" I stared at the list. Every one of them was to Clara. "Yes," I said quietly, "I'm aware." But in that moment, I wasn't just aware. I was done. Done being her ATM, done being her safety net, done being her fool. That night, I laid out every piece of evidence on my bed. Printouts of bank statements, screenshots of her texts, notes from friends who had slipped up and revealed the truth. Together they painted a clear picture. Clara hadn't just lied. She had manipulated me for months, maybe longer, and she thought she could keep doing it forever. But she was wrong. I closed my journal, my pulse steady. Tomorrow the games would end. Because I was ready to show my sister that family isn't a license to betray. It's a bond, and once broken, it cuts deeper than any knife. I invited Clara over one evening. She walked in smiling, tossing her purse on the couch like she owned the place. "Smells great. Did you cook?" "Yes," I said calmly. "I thought we should have dinner, just the two of us." Her smile faltered slightly, but she sat down. We ate quietly at first. I let her chatter about her new job, about the promotion she claimed was right around the corner. Every word was another lie, and every lie felt like a stone added to the pile between us. Finally, I set my fork down. "Clara, I need to ask you something." She froze, then forced a laugh. "Sure, what's up?" I slid the bank statement across the table. "Do you recognize these transfers?" Her face drained of color. She glanced at the paper, then back at me. "May, I don't know what this is. Maybe the bank made a mistake." "A mistake?" I said quietly. "The recipient name is yours." She stammered. "Okay, maybe once or twice, but I was desperate. I was going to tell you." "Once or twice?" I flipped through more pages, each one marked with her name. "Clara, this has been happening for months." Her mouth opened and closed. No excuse ready this time. All the years of loyalty, all the sacrifices, all the times I defended her, they boiled over. "Do you know what it feels like?" I snapped. "To realize your own sister has been stealing from you? To sit here and wonder if every hug, every thank you, every I love you was just another lie?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't mean to hurt me?" My voice shook with rage. "You drained me. You lied to my face. You made me feel like a fool." She pushed her plate away, her voice trembling. "May, I was drowning. You don't understand what it's like to struggle the way I do. I thought you'd forgive me because you always do." Her words cut deeper than she realized. Because she was right, I always forgave her. But not this time. I leaned back, steadying my breath. "Clara," I said, my voice calm now. "Family is supposed to protect each other, not exploit each other. You didn't just take my money. You took my trust, and once that's gone, nothing is the same." She shook her head desperately. "No, May, please, I can change. I'll pay you back. I'll do anything." But her promises sounded just like every other lie she'd told. I stood, gathering the papers into a neat stack. "This ends tonight. No more excuses, no more lies. You're going to face the consequences, Clara, whether you like it or not." Her face went pale. "What do you mean?" I looked at her, my voice like steel. "You'll see." For a long moment, Clara just stared at me, her eyes wide and wet. "May, you wouldn't really turn against me, would you? We're sisters." The word sisters rang hollow in my ears. I clenched the papers tighter. Real sisters don't steal from each other. Real sisters don't build their lives on lies. Her lips trembled. "I was scared. I thought if I told you the truth, you'd hate me." I shook my head. "Clara, I don't hate you because you were scared. I hate you because you chose lies over honesty every single time." Her mask finally cracked. "Fine," she snapped, shoving her chair back. "You've always thought you were better than me, the responsible one, the perfect one. Do you know what it feels like to be compared to you my whole life? To always be the screw-up while you shine?" Her words stung, but they also revealed the truth. This wasn't just about money. It was about resentment that had festered for years. I said softly, "So you punished me for being there for you, for loving you?" She looked away, unable to answer. Then, just as quickly, her anger dissolved into desperation. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "Please, May, don't give up on me. Don't tell anyone. I'll do better, I promise." I pulled away. "You've promised before." "But this time I mean it," she cried, her voice breaking. I studied her, my heart heavy. Maybe she meant it in this moment. Maybe she really believed she could change. But I knew her too well. Promises were easy, action was hard. I gathered the evidence back into my folder and stood tall. You need to understand something, Clara. Actions have consequences. You've taken advantage of me for the last time. Her face twisted in fear. What are you going to do? I met her gaze steadily. I don't have to do much. You've already dug your own hole. I'm just done covering it up for you. For the first time in years, Clara had no words. She sat there, shoulders slumped, eyes darting like a trapped animal. I felt a pang of grief for the sister I thought I had, the one who no longer existed. But beneath that grief was something stronger, relief, because by finally cutting her loose, I was reclaiming myself. I walked to the door, folder in hand. Clara's voice wavered behind me. May, please, don't do this, don't leave me. I paused, my hand on the doorknob. Then I turned back, my voice calm but firm. No, Clara, you left me a long time ago, the moment you chose lies over love. And with that, I opened the door and stepped into the night. Little did she know, the real consequences were only just beginning. Walking away from Clara that night, I thought I'd feel empty. But instead I felt lighter. For the first time in years, I wasn't carrying her burdens on my back. Still, betrayal leaves scars. And I knew the fallout was just beginning. The first cracks showed at a family gathering. Clara arrived late, avoiding everyone's eyes, but whispers had already begun. My mother leaned over to me, her voice low. May, what's going on with your sister? She seems off. I hesitated, then spoke the truth. She's been taking from me, lying, stealing. Mom's eyes widened, but instead of defending Clara, she sighed sadly. I wondered. She's always been careless. Word spread fast. Cousins, aunts, even old friends started to piece it together. Clara's charm couldn't cover the truth anymore. The next week, Clara called me, her voice sharp. Did you tell Mom? Now everyone's looking at me like I'm some criminal. I kept my tone calm. I didn't lie, Clara. You did that all on your own. She scoffed. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching me fall. I sighed. No, Clara, I'm just not saving you anymore. There was silence. For once, she had no comeback. Soon after, Clara's lies caught up with her outside the family too. Her landlord called my parents, furious about late payments. Co-workers whispered about her expensive shopping trips while she claimed to be broke. One friend told me bluntly, "We don't know what's true with her anymore. She's burned too many bridges." The same sister who once bragged about everyone loving her was now being avoided. Meanwhile, something in me began to heal. I stopped checking my bank account with dread. I stopped waiting for her calls, her crises, her endless needs. I went back to old hobbies, morning jogs, sketching, even baking on quiet Sundays. And with each passing day, I realized I was no longer defined by her chaos. I was finding me again. But Clara wasn't done trying. One evening, she showed up at my door, eyes red, makeup smeared. "May," she whispered, "please, I've lost everything. Nobody trusts me. I need your help." I stood in the doorway, steady. "Clara, I gave you everything. Money, time, love, and you threw it away." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "You made your choices. Now you're living the consequences." Her face crumpled, but I didn't move, because pity couldn't erase betrayal. That night, as I watched her walk away, I realized something important. I wasn't just surviving her betrayal anymore. I was thriving without her. And while Clara's world crumbled under the weight of her lies, mine was finally being rebuilt, stronger than ever. Over the next few weeks, Clara's life unraveled piece by piece. The sister who once walked into every room with confidence now avoided eye contact, her shoulders hunched as if carrying invisible weights. Friends who used to invite her everywhere stopped calling. Our relatives began declining her requests for help. Her lies had run out of places to hide. Then came the news. A mutual friend messaged me. "Did you hear Clara got fired?" I didn't want to believe it, but soon it was confirmed. She had been caught borrowing money from the petty cash at work. My heart sank. It wasn't just me she betrayed. It was everyone. One night, Clara called me sobbing. "May, they're saying I stole. They twisted everything. I was just going to pay it back." Her words echoed the same excuses I'd heard 100 times before. I never meant to hurt anyone. I just needed help. I closed my eyes, gripping the phone tight. "Clara, you didn't just need help. You chose lies over honesty, over and over again. And now, people finally see it." She cried harder, begging me to tell people she wasn't as bad as they thought. But I stayed silent, because defending her was no longer my job. After that call, I sat in the quiet of my apartment, replaying everything: the childhood promises, the late-night talks, the hugs after every mistake, and then the lies, the withdrawals, the manipulation. For so long, I thought I could save Clara, that being a good sister meant carrying her on my back, no matter how heavy she became. But betrayal taught me something different. Being a good sister doesn't mean losing yourself. It means knowing when to let go. With Clara's chaos fading from my life, I noticed how much energy I suddenly had. I poured it into work, into friendships that uplifted me, into self-care I had neglected for years. I laughed more. I slept better. I woke up without dread, no longer bracing for her next crisis. And with every small victory, I realized her betrayal hadn't broken me. It had freed me. But for Clara, freedom wasn't what she found. She kept spiraling, chasing excuses, burning bridges faster than she could rebuild them. And one day I knew there was no saving her anymore. She had reached the point of no return. It didn't take long for Clara's reputation to catch up with her. Neighbors whispered when she walked by. Old friends crossed the street to avoid her. Even family members who once made excuses for her finally shook their heads and said, "Enough." She had built her world on lies, and now those lies were crumbling beneath her feet. One Sunday, she showed up at a cousin's birthday party. Clara tried to act like nothing was wrong, laughing too loudly, hugging too tightly, but the room stayed cold. When she asked to borrow money, just until next week, people exchanged glances and turned away. Her charm, the same weapon that had worked for years, had lost all power. For the first time, Clara realized she couldn't talk her way out anymore. I watched it all from a distance. There was a time I would have rushed in to protect her, to explain, to patch things over. But that time had passed. Now, I understood something vital. Love without boundaries isn't love, it's self-destruction. By stepping back, I wasn't abandoning her. I was finally choosing myself. One morning, I found an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a letter, written in Clara's messy handwriting. "May, I know I've hurt you. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm begging you not to hate me. I'm lost without you. Please, just talk to me." I held the letter for a long time. My chest ached. But forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, and trust, once broken, doesn't magically return with words on a page. I folded the letter and tucked it away, not in anger, but in acceptance, because some bridges, once burned, should never be rebuilt. Meanwhile, my own life blossomed. I threw myself into projects I had put off for years. I reconnected with friends I had drifted from. I even started painting again, filling blank canvases with bold colors, like reclaiming pieces of myself with every brushstroke. Each day without Clara's chaos brought me peace I hadn't felt in years. And slowly, the hole her betrayal had carved inside me began to close. Then, one evening, I heard the news. Clara had been evicted. Her lies had caught up with her landlords, her friends, her employers. She was alone, and though part of me still ached for the sister I once knew, another part whispered the truth. This was the price of betrayal. And it wasn't over yet. It didn't take long for Clara to lose almost everything. Her friends stopped answering her calls. Our relatives refused to lend her another dollar. Even the neighbors who once waved politely now closed their blinds when she walked past. The girl who used to thrive on attention now carried herself like a shadow. And when I saw her one day outside the grocery store, clothes rumpled, eyes hollow, I almost didn't recognize her. She caught sight of me and froze. For a second, hope flickered in her gaze, but I only nodded politely and walked inside. Because pity couldn't undo betrayal. A week later, I received one last text from her. "May, I know I lost you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know, I'm sorry, truly." For the first time, her words felt real. Not excuses, not manipulation, just regret. I stared at the message for a long time, and then with a deep breath I typed back, "I hope you find your way, Clara, but I can't walk that path with you." After that, the silence was permanent. No more calls, no more crises, no more chaos. And in that silence, I rebuilt myself. I redecorated my apartment, filling it with sunlight and color. I booked a solo trip I'd always dreamed of, standing at the edge of the ocean and realizing I wasn't afraid of being alone. For the first time in years, I felt whole. Clara's betrayal had hurt me, yes, but it had also freed me. Because sometimes, losing the person you thought you needed most shows you that you were always enough on your own. Looking back, I realized something important. Family ties don't give someone the right to use you. Trust, once broken, doesn't return just because blood says it should. And betrayal, no matter how painful, doesn't define you. It defines them. So yes, my sister betrayed me for money and lies. And yes, it shattered me at first. But in the end, she paid the price. Because lies always unravel. Karma always comes knocking. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply standing tall while those who betrayed you watch their own lives fall apart. And now I want to ask you, if your own sister betrayed you for money, would you ever forgive her? Or would you cut ties forever like I did? Tell me in the comments. I'm curious to hear your stories.